Many of you probably don't have problem watching your favorite Netflix series, or browsing on social media on your phone, or watching your favorite sports. In fact, I have no doubt you could sit in front of the screen and do all those activities for hours or even longer without breaking your concentration, isn't it? But what about half an hour study? Whoa, that might be too hard. How about working on your side business for another hour? That doesn't sound too interesting. Even if you know that studying, exercising, building a business, or doing something equally productive will bring you more benefits in the long run, but you still prefer watching TV and scrolling through Instagram Reels or TikTok, now you might say it's obvious that one activity is easy and doesn't require much effort, while the other activity is difficult and requires too much effort. But some people seems to have no problem studying, exercising, doing all the activities that the majority of us thinks are boring. Which begs the question, why are some people are motivated to tackle difficult things? And is there any way to make difficult things easy? Well, to answer this question, we need to look into this brain neurotransmitter, dopamine. Dopamine is often considered a pleasure molecule, but that's not quite what it does. Dopamine is what makes us desire or wants the things, and it's that desire which gives us motivation to get up and do the stuff. There is multiple research that has been done to study the effects of the dopamine by the neuroscientist. Let's look one of them done on the mice. Here is how the experiment is conducted. The researchers implanted electrodes in the brains of the mice. Whenever a mouse pulls a lever, the researcher stimulates the mouse reward system in the brain by injecting the dopamine. Guess what? The result is the mouse liked it very much and kept the pulling the lever over and over again so that they could get hit of dopamine from the implanted electrodes. The mouse will refuse to eat or even sleep. They just kept pressing the lever until they would drop from the exhaustion. But then the process was reversed. The researchers blocked the release of dopamine in the brain. As a result, mice become so lazy, even getting up to get to drink a water was not worth the effort. They wouldn't eat, they didn't want to mate, they don't want to crave anything at all. You could say that they lost all will to live. However, if the food was placed directly into their mouth, the mouse would still eat and enjoy the food. They just don't have the motivation to get up and do it for themselves. Those mouse experiments might be extreme cases, but you can see the similar effect dopamine has on humans and in our daily life. In fact, your brain develops priority in the large parts based on how much dopamine it's expecting to get. If a task or activity releases too little dopamine, you won't have much motivation to do it. But if a task releases a lot of dopamine, you will be motivated to repeat over and over again. Now you might ask, which behaviors or activity releases the dopamine? Any task or activity where your brain anticipates there is a potential reward releases it. But if you know there is no immediate rewards with the behavior or activity, your brain won't release it. For example, before you eat your favorite food, your brain releases dopamine because brain anticipates that the food will make you feel good, even if it is actually make you feel worse. That's because your brain doesn't even care if the high amount of activity is damaging to you, it just wants more of it. A typical example would be someone who is a drug addict. He knows that what he is doing is not good for him, but all he wants is get more of that drug. Besides getting you high, cocaine and heroin releases unnatural amount of dopamine, which in turn makes you crave them even more. Of course, it has to be noted that almost all activity releases some amount of dopamine, even the drinking water. But the highest dopamine releases happens when you get a reward randomly. In today's digital world, we are flooding our brains with unnaturally high amounts of dopamine on daily basis, even if we don't know it. Some example of high dopamine behavior includes scrolling Instagram Reels, TikTok or Facebook, watching internet pornography, etc. We anticipate some sort of reward with each one of those behaviors. That's why we constantly checking out our phones and expect to see some kind of notification, likes, comments, etc. And we know that eventually we were going to receive it. We are becoming like those mice pulling the lever trying to get a new dopamine hit. And you might think, so what? It's not harming me anyway. Let me explain to you. your brain gets used to having high levels of dopamine and those levels become your new normal, resulting you will develop a dopamine tolerance. You need more and more of it like those rats or mice to do any activity. This can be a huge problem because the things that don't give us much dopamine don't interest you any longer, and it's much more difficult to motivate yourself to do them. They feel boring and less fun because they don't release much amount of dopamine compared to the things that do release us in high amount. That's why the people tend to prefer watching Instagram Reels, TikTok, compared to the studying or working on a business. Watching Instagram Reel, TikTok makes us feel good and comfortable as brain releases a lot of dopamine. Sadly, the things like working hard or reading or studying releases in low amounts. This is one of the reasons why drug addicts who try to quit have a hard time adjusting to the normal life. Their dopamine tolerance gets so high that the normal life isn't able to match it. They become like those mice from the previous experiment who have no motivation to do anything if there is not enough dopamine release. And it's not just the drug addicts, people who are addicted to video games, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook or internet pornography experiences the same thing. Once their dopamine tolerance gets too high, they simply aren't able to enjoy low dopamine activities. Which raises a big question. Is there anything that can be done to prevent us? The answer is you need to perform a dopamine detox. Now, how do we perform a dopamine detox? We will cover it in part 2 video. If you enjoy this video, I would really appreciate if you tap that like button. It helps out my channel a lot as the YouTube algorithm sees that people like this type of content and it shows to the bigger crowd. This allows more people to start improving their lives. As always, thanks for watching. I hope this video will put you one step ahead in the life. See you again.